You know who else was working for the federal government and is no longer working for the federal government? According to a breaking exclusive report from Radar Online, Jeffrey Epstein. Now, hold on. Remember I said, you're going to say, Michael, you got something wrong. You predicted something wrong. Because I said, when all the Epstein stuff was coming up again, I said, hey, I just want to let you know, you will never learn anything more that is in any way significant about Jeffrey Epstein. It's just not going to come out. There's not going to be the big smoking gun. You're not going to learn new stuff. You'll think you're learning new stuff, but you're not going to learn new stuff. Remember I said that? And it was a very unpopular view. And I explained why, because governments are not totally transparent and there are reasons that states sometimes need to protect information. Either Jeffrey Epstein is who the government says he is, in which case you've already heard everything you're going to hear, or he's a little bit more than that, in which case you've definitely heard everything you're going to hear. Anyway, I got in some hot water for saying that. And it looks like I'm wrong now, right? Because Radar Online, big headline. Do I have the piece? No, I didn't even print. I just took quotes from it. Breaking exclusive. Jeffrey Epstein was secretly working with the U.S. government, according to bombshell documents obtained by Radar Online. Well, that's new information, right? An FBI report. This bombshell explosive exclusive document from Radar Online was already reported in 2018. It was already reported 7 years ago. This article was main page of Drudge Report yesterday. Oh, wow, breaking exclusive. No. So there's probably new information to some people, because some people didn't read it back when it came out 7 years ago. What was the relationship between Jeffrey Epstein and the FBI? Because lest you missed it all those years ago, Epstein was, in fact, an informant for the FBI. What does that mean? Does it mean he was working with other intel agencies in America? Was he working with foreign intel agencies? What was the Epstein operation? We'll get to that in one moment. First, there's a lot of great stuff going to Daily Wire Plus, especially August 13th, The Pope and the Fuhrer, my documentary series on one of the most slandered, maligned, lied about guys of the 20th century, who also happens to be one of the greatest men of the 20th century. That is Pope Pius XII. We will get into his role in World War II and why the accusations against him are bunk. Then, this fall, Isabel Brown's new show joins the lineup alongside the most trusted and handsome voices in conservative media, all ad-free, uncensored, with live chat. So you're not just watching, you're part of the conversation. We built this because no one else would. Now it's yours too. Go to dailywire.com, become a member today. I'll just read the report, even though it's not actually new information, it is being presented as new information. The late tycoon and pedophile who died in jail in 2019, age 66, was, quote, more than just protected. He was a puppet, informant, and spy for the FBI. That, according to an intel agency source. We use a 2008 internal file obtained through a successful Freedom of Information Act lawsuit. Show Epstein was operating as an FBI informant prior to his now infamous 2007 sweetheart plea deal. So in 2007, he gets this plea deal where he said, yeah, I was doing a bunch of creepy stuff with the young girls. And he goes to the Palm Beach court and he's allowed out on nights and weekends. And it's like he basically had to just go to a hotel for a little bit. But he got this unbelievable sweetheart deal, no federal prosecution. How'd that happen? Well, apparently this file was obtained through a FOIA lawsuit. Now, again, I think the file was already out there. The information was already out there. So why is this being reported on as new information? I don't know. Epstein has also provided information to the FBI as agreed upon. A special agent, whose name was redacted, wrote on an internal cable dated September 9th, 2008, marked routine. Case agent advised that no federal prosecution will occur in this matter as long as Epstein continues to uphold his agreement with the state of Florida. So this deal between the FBI and Epstein allowed him to plead guilty to the much reduced state-level charges in Florida and get a slap on the wrist and then go free. According to a source close to the case, these are the smoking gun documents. They show Epstein was an active source for the FBI way before his plea deal in 2007. The real reason the FBI has been stonewalling for years is because these files blow up the official story. Epstein wasn't just evading justice, he was helping them. You don't give this kind of deal to a man like Epstein unless you're getting something big in return. Okay, so Epstein was a Fed. That's the takeaway. Epstein was a Fed. We already kind of knew it. We already had the reporting from Alex Acosta, who was the U.S. attorney on the Epstein case. Then he was up for labor secretary under Trump. He reportedly, according to the Daily Beast, so take it with a grain of salt, but he reportedly said in an interview with the Trump transition that the reason that Epstein got the sweetheart deal is because he belonged to intelligence, and Acosta was told to let Epstein be. So Epstein was a Fed. Gee, you don't say. You know, a lot of people are Feds. I know this accusation gets thrown about. It's bandied about a lot. It's often true. It's often true, okay? People who are mob figures, people who are in organized crime, a lot of them are Feds. A lot of them, what do we mean by Fed? We'll get to that in a second. A lot of people who are political activists, who are prominent extremists, political extremists and dissidents, a lot of them, not just now, but for many, many decades, up to and including the present time, have been Feds. And what I mean by Fed is not that they're super secret agent double spies who are raised in a laboratory at Quantico or Langley. What I mean is they provide information on their associates and their associates' activities and their campaigns to the federal government. And I'm not saying they do it necessarily willingly. Usually what happens is the government will get them on some kind of a crime. Did they participate in a riot? Did they participate in some violent action? Did they cheat on their taxes? Did they not report some income? Did they, whatever. They're going to get them on some minor crime. They'll say, look, we can either put you away. We can either prosecute you. We can either do this, that, or the other thing. We can either take your money. Or you can give us some information when we ask. And that's it. We're just going to meet with you every so often. And you give us some information. Maybe, who knows, we'll go meet at a restaurant. It's no big deal every month or two. And you're going to tell us about whatever. If you go back many decades, about the Black Panthers, or you're going to tell us about the Civil Rights Movement, or you're going to tell us about, but all the way up to the present day. There are many ways to get you. And so in this case, with Epstein, he was a Fed. Yeah. Most people who you think might be Feds, in my humble rule of thumb opinion, yeah, it's probably a safe assumption. It's probably a decent assumption. Let's put it that way. With Epstein, duh. You'd think a guy was operating a secret pedo sex island with the richest, most powerful people in the world. And then he was prosecuted, but he got totally off the hook. And he wasn't working with the government. Give me a break. Of course he was. The question now is not, was he an informant for the FBI after his prosecution? The question I have is, was he working for or with anyone before the prosecution? The way it works, the way people turn cooperators and government informants is they're doing something a little dodgy and the government gets you and they say, well, we won't punish you if you inform for us. And a lot of the time people inform, even if they deny it publicly. Now, with Epstein, that's what happened. Okay, now he's informing for the FBI. But who was he working with before? Was he, as is being alleged, working for the Mossad? Was he working for, I don't know, MI6? Was he working for the CIA? Was he working for organized crime? Or it is entirely possible that he was just running his own kind of thing, running his own little criminal enterprise. I'm saying it's possible. I'm not saying it's likely. I'm not saying it's plausible. I'm just saying it's possible. He was running his own thing. He gets pinched by the feds. Either way, the fact that we know that he was a federal informant eventually means that the government knows what he was up to. The government knows a lot more about his operation than the government's let on. And the fact that it has already been reported many years ago that he was a federal informant, the fact that this actually isn't any new information is just a reminder. You know how much I hate to say I told you so. You're not going to get juicy new info on the Epstein case. You're just not. There can be bad reasons for that. There could be good reasons. There can be virtuous reasons. The governments are not even supposed to be totally transparent. But I'm just looking at the timelines here. You're not getting any new info. Full stop. Now, I mentioned a lot of people think he was mobbed up with Mossad because he was working with Ghislaine Maxwell, and Ghislaine Maxwell's father, Robert Maxwell, was reputedly associated with Mossad and MI6 and maybe the KGB and whatever. That was a good clip. Now stop. Wait a minute. Hold my cup. Put some fruity seltzer in it. Subscribe, and we'll see you next time.